Welcome in our 1320 Kings insider and creator of the Kings Beat, James Ham. James, we're 1 week away from Media Day and the start of Sacramento Kings training camp. We will get to that in just a moment. The San Francisco 49ers beat the Seahawks yesterday 27-7. But James, as you're aware, that is far from the story today. Trey Lance's broken ankle has him out for the season. He's already had the surgery. The 49ers have already put out a statement. They are fully confident he'll be ready for the start of next football season. And so we'll just bring you into some of these conversations that we're having here. Kyle's taking a lot of heat. Kyle Shanahan's taking a lot of heat for the way that he used Trey Lance, and he's being blamed for that injury. Where do you kind of fall on all of these Trey Lance 49er stories today?
Yeah, I told you guys this story once before. Years ago, my son was playing soccer in Santa Cruz, and we had one of our kids slammed into another kid, and one of his buddies went to go help him up and started screaming and crying in the middle of the field, and so we all ran out there, and his foot was on backwards, and it was a catastrophic lower leg injury. My point is that, like, these things happen. They happen in, competitive soccer at like 13, 14 years old. They happen in games all the time. Like, it doesn't matter what play was called. He could have got hurt doing anything. I mean, didn't Jimmy Garoppolo like blow out a knee running out of bounds a couple of years ago? Mm-hmm. So my point would be, like, look, I had a lot of complaints with Shanahan's play calling because I thought he was too conservative the first week of the season. I thought he had training wheels on the offense, and I thought that's why they lost. They were too conservative. You just can't pick and choose what you're gonna, how this is gonna work out. It just, injuries happen, and they're part of the game. We watched Paul George snap his leg in just such an egregious way, just like landing under the basket one time. Like, it's just, sometimes it happens, and I'm not gonna put any blame on a coach who's just trying to put a kid out there and give him a chance to succeed, which to me succeeds for him, coming into that game, was he probably was going to need to show off his legs. He was probably going to need to run a little bit more and show that he can mix it up. So maybe it would open the spacing in the middle of the field for him.
My retort to that, and this is what I do agree with what some of the other people were talking about, is that's what you have running backs for. You don't have to run him to do that. No, I've made the argument that there's been no
quarterbacks. Or if you missed today's show, Kenny strongly hates running quarterbacks. I
don't hate running quarterbacks. I don't like design runs for quarterbacks. I love, like, what Kyler can do. And to me, there's a difference. Like,
mobile quarterback versus a running quarterback.
Yeah, like, I don't want to.
Kyler's mobile. Tony Romo's mobile.
Yeah.
Runs.
I don't want to, all right, we're running power option right with Lamar or Josh or Trey handling the ball. Like, I'm not a big fan of that. Like, there's too many things that could go wrong, and you're putting everybody in an awkward position. So I'm not a fan of Kyle Shanahan running those plays for Trey. But what do you think about, like, the thought of, if you want to establish the run that bad, that's what the running backs are for? Or hell, run it in around with a wide receiver. Don't do it with your quarterback.
Well, I wouldn't do it with the wide receiver as much as the 49ers do. But that's how they run their offense. Like, I think Debo takes an unnecessary amount of hits doing all these little, stunts and weird runs that he does. So, I mean, I guess you could put your complaint there. But at the same time, like, Randall Cunningham rushed for almost 1,000 yards one season. Mike Vick, I think, did rush for 1,000 yards, right? It's not like you can be a passer and a runner, and, we're watching Josh Allen rack up like 10 touchdowns a year running the ball. Like, I think that you can be both. It just depends on the quarterback. And clearly, I guess my main response would be, why do you think the 49ers chose Trey Lance? It was because he was a mobile running quarterback. It was because he wasn't Jimmy Garoppolo. He wasn't a drop back, pure, pocket passer. that's why they chose him. They wanted to add new elements to their offense. And, again, these things happen. Like, I hate seeing it. It's just horrible. But, I've been on the court, been in the building when Kevin Durant popped his Achilles, when Rudy Gay popped his Achilles, when, Klay Thompson blew out his knee. Like, I've been there for so many of those. And as a athlete, I've been on the field many times when players do something that's just horrible, and you're just like, oh man. I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, injuries happen. You're playing football. In high school, I watched a guy come off the field and blood was gushing out of his arm. He got his forearm pinched between two helmets and took like a boulder marble sized chunk out of his forearm. He came to football practice on Monday and had sewed it up himself.
All right,
And
well, that's enough of the James Ham show.
Was ready to go. Like this, it's a different breed, man. That's what
ACLs, James.
You need a filthy man.
No, man, I'm just telling you, that's what football is. Football is you go out there and you lay it all out on the field, and if bad things happen, they happen. I mean, and it's unfortunate, but again, he's going to learn from the sidelines for another season.
Well, let's talk about the Kings now.
I don't want to talk about sports at all. I just want to know.
Yeah, for that matter, I think that kid rushed for 280 yards that game. Okay. Taped it up, went back out there, bleeding everywhere.
I thought we could have just left it at he rushed for 280 yards.
Yeah.
Okay. There's nothing about what has happened over the last few minutes is okay. Do you think there's Super Bowl chances? This is a team that a lot of people like for the Super Bowl. Do you think they've changed at all?
Yeah, I think they improved.
Oh,
no. I mean, realistically, they improved for this season, but for next season, the season after that, no. They took a major hit.
Why do you think they improved?
Because you have an experienced quarterback versus an inexperienced quarterback. Like, that's what it comes down to. You have a guy who knows how to make play reads, a guy who you don't have to sit there and worry about the offense. I mean, if Jimmy Garoppolo comes in and actually has all of the targets that he had at the end of last season versus what he had at the beginning of last season, I think he can do a lot of good things. Was he the total answer in San Francisco? No. But, I mean, Trey Lance hadn't proven that he was the answer either yet. It was too early to know. And, he'll get a shot next year to run this team and to take over and to be the guy again. But for right now, man, Jimmy Garoppolo is the seasoned guy. He is. I mean, he's taken you to, like, the NFC Championship game, to the Super Bowl. He's taken you there.
He hasn't won one, though. That's the concern. That's what I said, and I believe to be the case in this situation is today on September 19th, does Jimmy Garoppolo give you a better chance to win games? Probably so. But the plan was on January 26th that Trey Lance would give you a better chance than Jimmy Garoppolo in those situations, in those playoff situations when plays need to be made. And we'll never know because he's not there. But that's the thing with Jimmy Garoppolo. You need somebody that's going to make the plays to win the Super Bowl, to win in those playoff games. As much as I love Jimmy Garoppolo and I think he's a good ball player, what plays did he make in any of the playoff games last year to win the game?
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I'm going to make a distinction between, you said the plan was for Trey Lance to be that guy in January. No. The hope was that's who he would be. And so the plan and the hope are two totally different things.
That's still the plan. I mean, they didn't plan to say, well, we're not going to make the playoffs this year. We're not going to win a Super Bowl. Yeah, that's the hope and the plan. You get him in there now.
Yeah.
So he'll be ready to go in December, hopefully.
Yeah, but you can't plan for a complete unknown. And Trey Lance is still a complete unknown. He'll walk in the next season as a complete unknown. Like, we will have no idea who he is as a quarterback. And it's unfortunate. Again, but how many times has this happened? How many times even like a young quarterback, like just get mowed down early in his career. I mean, you hope that it's not something that lingers and takes away some of who he was. But like, you can't game plan, and you're just hoping that that's who he would be by the end of the season. And if he wasn't, you would have said, it's just his first season. It's no big deal. We'll get him next year. Where I think with Jimmy Garoppolo, you know he's good enough to get you there. Whether he's good enough to win it or not, I mean, come on now. Like, he's going up against, you get to the final 8 teams, and I think last year, wasn't it like Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Joe Burrows, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, like him and Ryan Tannehill, like of the top 8 quarterbacks that were left, Stafford. Like clearly Jimmy Garoppolo was either the 8th best quarterback left in the playoffs or the 7th. And like, that doesn't mean that Trey Lance was going to jump over one of those guys and be better than a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers or any of those guys in year 1. So, yeah, I mean, you took a shot here for sure. You took a blow, especially. I mean, now you don't have a backup quarterback. Now you got to go, rely on a completely unproven guy as your backup quarterback. I mean, this weekend wasn't like Kyle Juszczyk, the third string quarterback. Like, if something happened to Jimmy Garoppolo, now you're hitting that button. I mean, this thing could get worse.
I just realized what's going to happen. Joe Flacco is going to be the backup quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers this year.
Always bet on Flacco.
He's absolutely going to be that.
Hey, he looked good this weekend. What are you talking about? His Jets won. His Jets won. Yeah.
Over under, he throws 4 more touchdowns like in the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, isn't it weird?
Yesterday, which is just baffling. Of course, that pales in comparison to the quarterback god, Tua Tagovailoa, who threw 4 touchdowns in the 4th quarter.
Jeez. 6 touchdowns, 469 yards. I mean, he threw 2 picks and still managed to throw 6 touchdowns. I mean, that just right there, that's crazy. Absolutely. And like, do teams, when are they going to get the memo that you have to cover Tyreek Hill on like the streak? I mean, it's just ridiculous how many times the guy's wide open running down the field. You're like, oh, look at that. There goes Tyreek Hill. Yeah, I don't think I've seen a game where two wide receivers both caught 11 passes. One caught for 191 yards. One caught for 171 yards on the same team.
They couldn't cover those guys to save their lives.
Not at all.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. That game is incredible. I have that playing in the background. That is just incredible. By the way, any questions about how Tyreek Hill would do in Miami? Are we going to put those through? Miami?
No, we're not.
We're not going to put those to rest?
No, it's week 2. No, it's
I'll tell you what. I looked at my son's.
It's good right now. No, it's not. It's week 2.
I looked at my son.
Same thing. Everybody
came alone.
Same thing everybody did last week with the Seahawks. Well, maybe we didn't respect the Seahawks. No, Seahawks stink.
Yeah,
they won a game. They stink.
Yeah, we chose to not keep Tyreek Hill because he was our hookup with Mahomes in fantasy. And then in the 3rd round, we had an opportunity to take him, and instead went with CeeDee Lamb, and now we're regretting that. So
now,
yeah,
Tyreek Hill has like 300 some odd yards in 2 weeks.
No,
and a stack of touchdowns.
No, look, now
really the same exact player.
No, look, I think Tyreek Hill is just fine. But I thought that coming in. Like, I didn't change my thought because of 2 weeks. I thought he'd be nice. He's a beast. Whether he's in Kansas City, Miami, or wherever. What I'm trying to say is I'm not changing after 2 weeks. If I didn't think that he was going to be nice coming into the season, I wouldn't change after 2 weeks. I think he's nice regardless. Like, he's that dude regardless. That's how I've always felt about him. But it shouldn't change after 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's the dude that you say just go down to the Cadillac and take a and take a right. Like, he's a street ball guy that just go out there and do whatever you're gonna do, and I'm gonna throw the ball as far as I can, and you just keep running and it'll land on you
Al
sometime.
Pacino.
And David, the question was never Tyreek Hill. It was Tua. That was the question. That was the question. Now, do you change how you feel about Tua in 2 weeks? I'm still unsure of Tua. That hasn't changed. I'm
that's
unsure.
one game for Tua.
He's balling. He was fine in week 1 as well, but I'm still not completely confident in Tua after 2 weeks.
Dolphins 2-0.
2-0. Mike McDaniels.
Light Skin Brothers ain't in no more. Let's shift gear. You know that reference, by the way?
Which one?
Light Skin Brothers ain't in no more, but we coming back. I don't know if James will get this one, but
I'm trying to. I feel like. Tell me what it was, because
How to Be a Player.
Yeah, that's what I thought of a homeboy from How to Be a Player. I thought that's what it was, but I couldn't remember his name. Because
What year was y'all in though?
He was on
89.
He was in BAPS. That's what I was thinking of him being in BAPS. But yeah.
James, we're 1 week away from training camp. The Kings season is about to get underway. Are you starting to get those pre-camp vibes? Are you excited? Are you calm before the storm? Where are you at with this Kings season approaching? I know you're still writing a ton.
This is always that moment where I'm looking around the house and thinking of all the projects I didn't get done and how they're going to be sitting here for the next 6 months, and how I'm going to, like, my wife's not going to be happy with me because I didn't get them done. That's typically where I'm at.
The good news is you'll never be home to get in trouble.
There it is. That's true.
That's a trade-off.
Very true. Very true. This is that moment where you start to crank it up, and like, I've been writing long form on like position battles and stuff like that over the last couple of weeks, and I wrote on Sunday about sort of this really interesting way that they built this team. So like, those are things that you start to like get ready for, but like, when you cover a team like full time, it's sort of like you have to get your affairs in order before the start of the training camp. And if you don't, you're in trouble. It's just going to be like a wild ride where you're trying to balance too many things at one time.
We've talked about this a number of different times, but I'm still fascinated by what goes on, because I was thinking about this ironically over the weekend for whatever reason. Maybe I was thinking about this when I thought people were going to infiltrate my house like Tony Montana.
Yes.
But this point guard situation with Cook, Dellavedova, and did they bring in a third one, or was it just those two?
Just those two.
Just those two. I don't know. I don't know if either one of them makes the team. Like, if you're trying to keep Bazemore, if you're trying to keep add depth at the 3 and things of those nature, why would you bring in Cook and Dellavedova to stay on that roster? We talked about Metu last week, and the possibility of him being on the team. Alex Lynn has to be on the team. I'm just not sure what would be the reason to bring in Cook and Dellavedova and have them stay on the team.
Well, I mean, I've watched this team 2 years in a row come into the season without enough playmaking, where it was clear they did not have enough playmaking. I think last season you started to feel like you probably were getting there, but you needed one more playmaker. And even if you look at the stats, right? So last season they came in with Fox and Halliburton, and you thought, okay, they've got plenty of playmaking, but that was with the understanding that Buddy Hield and Harrison Barnes, who had both put up like career highs in assists the season before, that they wouldn't fall off a cliff. And of course they fell off a cliff, and so you ended up again not having enough playmaking. Once if you pulled Fox and Halliburton off the court at the same time, you were in trouble. So I think when you walk into a season, like, I don't really want to see a time where Malik Monk is the point guard, or where Terrence Davis is the point guard. Like, if you can avoid it and you can make the right roster moves to make it all fit, then I would prefer to walk into the season with the third point guard, because let's be honest, I mean, De'Aaron Fox, in the age of COVID, he's missed games because of COVID. But he also, broke a bone in his hand last year and missed like the final 10 games of the season. He had that 8-game stretch where he was just out. So you're looking at a guy who does miss games, and I think Davion Mitchell is a guy who doesn't miss games, and I think will probably be one of those guys that historically stays strong and plays a lot of games throughout his career just because of the way he's built and because of the work he puts in, but also, he's more of a ground-based guy. He doesn't like extend himself out vertically and get injured that way. So, I still wouldn't mind seeing a third point guard on this team, but that's only if it really fits. I mean, I don't think you have to keep either one of those guys, but Quinn Cook is a great shooter. I mean, career like 41% shooter from three. Like if you need a spark plug, if you need things are going wrong in a game and you need someone to come in and hit shots, like why not? Especially when some of the players we're talking about that would make the team over him, they don't have that capability. We're talking about a KZ Okpala who, might average like 3.5 points for his career just because he hasn't got an opportunity. Or Chima Moneke, which we've never seen him play an NBA game at all. The only thing he's really played is at UC Davis, and then he goes overseas and he's not even playing in like the highest of the highest leagues overseas most of the time. So I think knowing what you have and knowing that you have some depth there probably isn't a bad thing. But I also think that they have holes in other spots.
Do you think this offseason went exactly how Monty McNair wanted it to?
No. I mean, I think, like the coaching search did. I think the draft did. I think the first day of free agency did, and the first big trade he did, those all went according to plan. But I think there was one more move that he had intended to do, and it didn't get done, and maybe it does, maybe it doesn't between now and in February. But I just feel like there was one more move. He kept saying he was going to be aggressive, that he wasn't done yet, that he understood his roster wasn't quite there yet. But now you're rolling. This is what you're rolling into the season with. I think so for the most part, yes. But that last like finishing touch, he didn't quite get over the hump where you've guaranteed yourself a playoff spot. You look like a playoff team, but that's on paper. Like we have to see what exactly this team develops into and whether they can take that next step, and that requires maybe a little bit more than what they have right now, where you would guarantee who they are.
Did you think that the whole KD situation, league almost shut down because of that? You think that's the reason why the deal didn't get done, or was there probably just not a deal out there for him that he was looking for?
No, I mean, I think that played a role in it for sure. I mean, like at the end of the day, I mean, if we see this rumored deal that could have happened, which we don't even really know what the rumored deal was, except for Harrison Barnes might have gone to the Phoenix Suns during the offseason. That's certainly a one potential trade that got held up by Kevin Durant in that situation. But I don't know. I think that he probably had 5 or 6 deals, and just either they didn't make sense to him or things changed with other teams. Just like if we take the report at face value, the Kings were very interested in making a trade, and then things changed. And so they weren't ready to do the same deal once the Suns were finally ready to do the deal. And I do think that, there's always going to be opportunities that are like missed. And I don't even think that that's it. Like, I don't think that there's some missed opportunity that Monty McNair, blew or something. But at the same time, I think that he would have liked to have made one more like earth-shattering move that would change, that would cement who and what his team is.
Regardless of the legitimacy to it, that Suns move, the Cam Johnson move, that's the only one that really truly makes sense to me. Because you're getting what you're asking for, a younger player at Harrison's position that's around for more than a year.
Yeah, but even that, I mean, that was speculatory as to what they were.
I mean, yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah, what they might get in that deal. And so, I could see that being a move that makes a lot of sense for the Kings. just because you're getting younger at the position, and whether he can play the 3, that's still a question, And I think this team really, I think that long term, they have hopes that maybe Keegan Murray can play the 3, that he can slide over and play some 3, but they've got to get him like in the lab, and really break him down as work on his body and get him more physical and all that stuff. And that's going to take a little bit of time.
We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more football. We'll talk more Kings basketball with our 1320 Kings insider, James Ham. As Dealing with KC continue here on this 49ers Monday, brought to you by Gilmore Heating, Air, and Plumbing. You get more with Gilmore on Sacramento Sports Leader, ESPN 1320. Clear.
Yeah.
Clear.
Yeah, I think the Trey Lance debate stuff it's intriguing, but
it's interesting. It's been an interesting day, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean those things happen and that could have happened out like him running around the corner and down the line. Somebody could have collared him and dragged him down in a bad way and broke his leg. I mean, it's just tough.
Chester was asking me name names like it's this big old thing. Bro, I was listening to the morning roast. Listen to Bonte. Listen to Joe. I listen to Dibs. I'll talk to my man Guru. You know what I'm saying? Listen to I saw Turbin last night on Sports Extra talking about the Trey Lance and his entire family should be pissed off at Kyle Shanahan. So Chester, I listened to Overtime with Kyle and Alan Stiles. Malpractice was going around. Damon Bruce was talking about. I listen to everybody around here, bro. These are all my people. I either listen to them or I talk to them directly. So it was out there. I'm not getting at anybody for how they feel about it. I'm just saying that's what was out there. I don't necessarily see it the same way, but those opinions and thoughts are out there.
Yeah, when I brought up the kid that they got injured in the game that my son was playing in, I bring that up because there was no 250-pound linebacker and a 300-pound defensive lineman and an offensive lineman that's in the way, all of that falling on each other. It was two spindly 105-pound kids slamming into each other, and boom, it happened. Those things, they just happen in sports all the time. And you hope that it doesn't happen to your star player, but, it happened. It does. I mean, didn't Joe Burrows miss a huge portion of a season with a blown out knee? There's a lot of these guys, have had major injuries at different points in their career. It just sucks.
Yeah, I talked about it earlier in the show, and it's some of the worst injuries we've seen are from guys in the pocket, people falling around them and snapping their legs and tearing ACLs and things like that. They're not
Theismann.
They're not running. They're in the pocket. So some of it is just football. Like I said, maybe I'm just cautious by nature. I just wouldn't put my quarterback in those type of running situations, but it is still football, man. There's not a lot of safe places on the football field.
Yeah, I mean, we played Lamar Jackson this weekend, and he busted up the middle, not around the side. He busted up the middle on a planned run, 79-yard touchdown. That's the league you play in. You only have really two styles of quarterback now. You have your drop back, and you got, well, I guess you can say three. You have your mobile inside the pocket quarterback, and then you have your mobile quarterback, and then you have your drop back quarterback. And I still don't even know what Lance is. I don't know which of those he is.
Rams, to answer your question, I don't have a take on Amani. I hope everything's okay. I don't know what that's all about.
Take on who?
Amani Bates.
Oh.
I hope everything's all right, man. He was arrested with a gun in the car. So
yeah.
Amani Bates is 19 years old. I hope everything's all right. He says it was a misunderstanding. It wasn't his car. Well, he said it wasn't his car, and the gun was in the car, and he didn't know.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
That's tough.
Look at Devontae Smith. Looks very dapper. Got a short suit on, pink, with the white button up, no tie. Very dapper.
Coming back, guys. Hang on. A couple of other quick NFL notes here on this 49ers Monday, brought to you by Gilmore Heating, Air, and Plumbing. You get more with Gilmore. Your defending AFC champions are 0-2 and lost to the Dallas Cowboys yesterday.
Double yikes.
Sorry, let me rephrase that. They lost to Cooper Rush yesterday.
They had to come back to make it close.
They did. They're 0-2. Joe Burrow not clicking so far this season.
You said they weren't going to make the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
That's tough, man. That's a tough start.
Detroit Lions, Jared Goff, man, Tua Tagovailoa throws for 6. Joe Flacco throws for 4. Jared Goff threw for 4 touchdowns yesterday in the Lions' 36-27 win. How about those Detroit Lions?
Come on, man. I get emotional about this.
If I was quick, if I had thought about it, I would have had the button ready.
Emotional about this.
I'm about to cry.
I get emotional about this. I'm about to cry.
I gotta going back to the Bengals real quick. I heard a stat about them. The first ever Super Bowl participant to lose their first 2 games of the following season on the last play of the game. Never happened before.
That is a hell of a stat.
Little baseball-ish, but
that is never giving up a home run to a right-hand batter on a Wednesday in 80-degree temperatures. That had those kind of vibes to it. Patriots beat the Bengals yesterday. Just looking at a couple of games that we didn't touch on. I'm beginning to think I was wrong about the Panthers. Kenny's.
You thought about the Panthers?
I did.
You're not the only one, though. That was a. There we go. Saying the word. That was a take before the season started. Yeah, he's not alone. I heard that.
It's a bad one. It was a bad one. Your Giants are 2-0, by the way.
And I hate that they're my Giants because I don't like them.
They are.
But they're 2-0, and they play next Monday night against the Dallas Cowboys. It could be 3-0. My going into week 4.
Cash Caraway's picks of the week. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
I can't think of a more like a quarterback that I would like to watch less than Daniel Jones. Like, there's just nothing there. Like, talk about a dude who gets hit way too hard, and he gets hit, like, trying to pick up 2 yards. He doesn't know how to slide. He doesn't know how to get down. He gets laid out all the time. He's huge. He's not a good passer. Like, there's a lot of question marks about, like, talk about one team where you're like, man, how much are they held back by their quarterback? That might be the quarterback where you're
I haven't seen enough of Daniel Jones. Well, you've probably seen more of him than I have. Though when I do see him, maybe I'm just getting all the decent times. Because I look at him like, man, he's not that bad. Like, I don't think he's great, but yeah, all right, he's kind of athletic.
Like everything, like he looks exactly like Eli Manning in every way imaginable.
To me, he's like a broke Joe Flacco, and you're like, oh, that's not good. Yeah.
Well, Damien did say Eli Manning.
A broke Joe Flacco, man. Jeez, I can't imagine what that's Danny John. My goodness.
Well, you did say Eli Manning.
My guy. Are you
Eli's got 2 Super Bowls, man. Eli's got 2 Super Bowls.
Ty Davis Price hurt his ankle.
No.
He hurt his ankle and he's out a couple weeks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Is it Marlon Mack time?
Jeez. Yeah, it absolutely is.
I absolutely believe that it is. Ty Davis Price, injured, high ankle sprain, will be out, quote, a few weeks. Damn.
Yeah.
Never have been with the Niners. Never.
We talked Flacco, Tua, Goff. The exact opposite is Matt Ryan.
Wow.
Oh.
Matt Ryan threw 3 interceptions yesterday. His Indianapolis Colts scored 0 points. And 2 weeks into the season, they have tied the Texans and got shut out by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Stick a fork in him.
Yeah, that's tough.
I mean, watching him is it's not good. That's like when you're going out to breakfast and you like eggs Benedict sounds so good, and you order it and it comes out, it looks beautiful and it looks perfect, and then you go to bust into it and the yolk is all like solid, and you're like, oh yeah, you're done. You're overcooked, man. That's over.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold
Send it back.
First of all, if the yolk was just like creamy and watery, that would be even more disgusting. Like I don't eat. What are they over easy? See summed up. I don't eat my eggs like that.
Poached, man. It's poached.
Scrambled only.
See, that's the beauty of D'Lo and KC. We bring different cultures together. Because what is the name of this dish? What is it? What is this? Eggs Benedict?
You don't know eggs Benedict?
No, I know. I've never eaten it before.
Oh, you can come up. I'll make you eggs Benedict. We'll watch football on a Sunday, and yeah.
I'm with that. I'm with that. As long as we don't have to watch Daniel Jones, we could.
That's right.
Do it.
Packers, I'm from a different culture.
Packers beat the crap out of the Bears yesterday. Not a good day for our guy Justin Fields. Tampa Bay beats the Saints, and I think we have officially covered it all. The Rams beat the
fight. What you think about that fight? Some people think Mike Evans is going to get suspended.
Yeah,
he did
out of that one.
Mike Evans got suspended for a game. Yeah,
I think he's the only person who got suspended.
I didn't know why Lattimore got thrown out.
Okay, so that's his second time. In 2017, Mike Evans also got suspended for fighting, and it was Lattimore that time as well.
Wow, they got real beef.
They don't like each other.
I don't know why he got thrown out of the game, though. Like, yeah, he was talking, but that's all that was going on. He didn't get physical with Tom Brady or the coaches or nothing like that. He got shoved to the ground, damn near clothesline from hell to the ground. Got up, defended himself, and he gets thrown out.
Yeah.
Yep.
It could have been I don't know. Probably not fair. It could have been a defuse the situation type thing. Just get everybody involved out. But that was a real fight.
They had real heat.
That one of them pretend ones. That was real.
They got real heat. Yeah. Did you see Arians on the sideline?
Bruce Arians is
and he was talking mess. Like, bro, what are you first of all, what are you doing here?
He was
didn't Tom say you're not allowed down here?
I didn't even think of that he's not even the coach.
He's not.
Like, what are you doing here? And did you see Mike Evans? You could read his lips. He said, man, it's Tom Brady. What am I supposed to do? It's Tom Brady. It's like, yeah, you got to go throw down, man. It is Tom Brady.
People were hitting Bruce Arians with it. Sir, sir,
excuse me, sir. I'm going to need to see your badge. Yeah. I don't think you're supposed to be in this area. Yeah. That's awesome.
Kyle Shanahan is on a conference call right now, so there's a couple of notes coming out from the San Francisco 49ers. We've already mentioned the Ty Davis-Price injury. Kyle Shanahan also said he'd be shocked if Trey Lance does not stick around Santa Clara and do his rehab under the direction of the team. They want him to be a part of every meeting and be at practices too. Quote, "We don't plan on Trey being away from us at all." And that's Kyle Shanahan, who's on a conference call right now with members of the 49ers media.
Well, one of the things about it, guys, is I think Trey Lance is at the very least competing for your starting quarterback job next year with somebody else that you bring in. I don't think it'll be Jimmy. No, I don't care what happens this year. Like the ultimate can happen, like win a Super Bowl, get to a Super Bowl, whatever. Jimmy is going to be out of the Niners price range. So it's going to be Trey Lance at the very least competing for the starting spot, if not being QB1 once training camp rolls around.
We'll see. I don't know. I think it's gonna be fun. Like every week, the God bless her soul, the lady who draws the the Jimmy Garoppolo until he gets
I
traded.
definitely would have quit that gimmick by now.
Yeah, but she's selling a ton of stuff, so maybe not. I don't
I
know.
would have kept it going.
Yeah, but
Keep it going.
he's making $250,000 for every game that he takes 25% of the snaps or more, and for every win, he gets $100,000. So if you want to motivate somebody to be good, you can't motivate him enough where he won't overthrow a pass, because we already saw that this weekend. Just like, come on, man, that's the same exact stuff. Stop overthrowing your pass by 3 feet. That doesn't
Jimmy
make
was
any
back.
sense.
Look, Jimmy hasn't changed.
Jimmy was back.
Yeah, Jimmy is back.
Overthrown receivers.
That's since 2018. Yeah.
More from Kyle Shanahan. He said the 49ers will definitely bring in a quarterback for the practice squad to be the number 3 guy behind Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy.
See, Brock Purdy.
MCL sprain. He's going to miss some time. Tuesday's the day we announce all of the injuries.
Yeah, Brock Purdy. He got a quarterback name. I like that.
Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it just sucks though about Trey. But I do think he'll maybe I'm just hopeful, but I think he'll make a recovery on track, and he'll be ready to go next year.
Yeah.
Ryan Fitzpatrick going to leave that Amazon booth, come in and be that quarterback that pushes Trey. He says, I'm sorry, we'll move on from the 49ers. These notes are just coming in, and I want to pass them along. Kyle Shanahan said George Kittle was close to playing on Sunday, but he is glad the decision was made to sit him and get him even healthier for week 3 to face the Broncos. I'll read into that my own. It sounds like George Kittle's probably going to go on Sunday. Sunday night. Sunday night against the Broncos.
George Kittle wasn't around. I think he started one game that Trey Lance was a starter in his 4 starts. Yeah, Kittle for 1 game. That's a big deal as well.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. I mean, you take your guy that's going over the middle. Yeah, I definitely, I think it would have been a lot different the last 2 weeks with Kittle.
And
it's just too bad.
The game he had, Kittle, was probably his best game. I don't think that's a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a sports media note. I was genuinely wondering this, I don't think anyone but nerdy people will care about this, but I was very, very curious. John Oron, who runs the Sports Business Journal, he's tweeting about Amazon and Thursday Night Football. He said Thursday Night Football likely succeeded 12.5 million viewers. I point that out because that was the Amazon Prime game, and we wondered what is that going to look like, as this I believe was the first game exclusively on Amazon Prime, and that's a hell of a number. 12.5 million for the streaming service. I can't remember what Thursday Night Football games generally get. I don't think it's that far off of that. It does exclude some people who might not have the type of internet that can stream a 4-hour football game or whatever. But that's a hell of a number. That's significantly higher than I expected it to be.
What's the deal with the Sunday ticket? Is this the last year with DirecTV, and then it's open for business?
I believe so. I believe this is the last year, and the announcement of who it'll be will be made sometime during the season.
Gotcha.
And Apple TV, we heard, was the leader. And then and then someone jumped in and I don't remember if it was Amazon or who it was, but kind of threw the whole thing for a loop. And it's like, well, it's not over. And somebody is about to grossly overpay for that NFL package.
Yeah.
Because they know all of us are going to grossly overpay for that NFL package.
I think there's an interesting twist here too with the Prime situation, because someone brought up that Steven says my local bar didn't have Amazon Prime. That's, I don't know. Okay, so if you're watching at a restaurant or at a bar, right, and they have to take the amount of seats, divide by a specific number, and then they have to pay per person basically for if they're going to stream sports events, right? So if they have Comcast or they have DirecTV or whoever it is they have, They have to. It's based off of their capacity, and then they have to, basically pay off of that. But what do they have to do with Prime? Because as far as I can tell, just, hey, Steven, next time bring a Fire Stick to your local bar,
yourself.
plug it in, switch the input, and then boom, bring your remote. Make sure that you say, hey, can I get the username and password for your Wi-Fi, and just start streaming it. Because as of right now, I don't think that there is that sort of backdrop that you have with other networks, because it's kind of a one-off, right? I don't think you can live stream their, like, you can't walk in and there's like the Lord of the Rings thing going on at a restaurant or something, but I don't think they have the same like mechanisms in place that the other sort of established television network stuff does.
And the weird thing is, it's free. Like, you don't have to be an Amazon Prime subscriber, like to the actual Amazon Prime service, something show up at your house in an hour. You don't have to be a subscriber to that to watch the game. You literally just have to download the app. The key part to them is punch in your information, click the little box that said, hey, we want to track everything that you do so we can serve you ads for Amazon. That's all they want.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think one of my pet peeves in all of life is the sports bar that doesn't get the TV programming correct. Like, I'll be in a sports bar and somebody forgets to change the channel after the game ended, and I'm sitting up there watching darts while USC is playing UCLA or something like that, and they haven't turned the channel. Bro, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, I had to
the hell out of me.
I had to be on the move a couple of times during Kings season and would have to meet different people with our company at Yard House. Do you know how many times I walked in there and the Kings game wouldn't be on one of the 50 TVs in Yard House? I remember they were showing, it was a regular, they were showing, it was an ESPN game, but it was the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, can I get one of these on the team that plays like
down the street
30 minutes from here? Just could you throw it on the TV?
Infuriating.
You know,
Pam, put the Kings game on.
I hate it when you go into a bar/restaurant, but you're in the restaurant area, and then everyone wants like MMA on. And I'm sitting there having a nice dinner and watching people just bloody each other and beat each other senseless. That, to me, that also doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense.
I went one time, I tried to watch a boxing fight at, I think it was like at BJ's or something like that. And they said they weren't allowed to play boxing or anything at the restaurant bar or whatever.
That makes sense.
They said it was because the guy told me, it could have been completely wrong, but his reasoning that he was given was because it just Jay-Z and Kanye West, it gets the people going. Like, if it's a big fight, like, people get amped up and they start the possibility of a fight rising in the bar.
Yeah, I kind of, like, we're talking about BJ's, for goodness sake. Like, it's not like that's not like a rowdy sports bar. It's where you go to get a cookie with ice cream on it.
That's true. That's true. That sounds good right about now.
Makes a perfect Pazuki, by the way. I'm asking for tonight. The Queen Bee. I'm asking for tonight. Perfect Pazuki.
They don't miss. Like, does she make it in the skillet type?
Little cast iron skillet.
Oh,
yeah, she perfected that thing.
I mean, I'll drop
thing's gone off the rails. We'll be by at like 7.
She perfected that thing. I'm asking for one tonight.
One thing we didn't talk about today that we can spend some more time talking about as the week rolls along, Hammer. There was a report from The Athletic that the NBA Players Association and the NBA owners are getting close to hammering out a new collective bargaining agreement, which the mutual opt-out date is coming up in a couple of months. I think it's December 15th or so. And, I don't think there's no true threat of a lockout, but if they don't opt out, they can't renegotiate this summer. I think it carries out another year. The idea opting out, it's essentially a year early. You could put a new collective bargaining agreement in place. And, one of the main talking points was the age going back to 18 from 19, and that changing the complexion of drafts moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tremendous. I personally, I think I used to have a strong stance on this, and I think you might as well just let players come in.
It wouldn't be a James Ham appearance.
It's amazing. We cannot get through one show. It's almost like a running bit now where James's internet just freezes for no reason.
I'm back. Son of a...
The best part about it is, for those who aren't watching the show and who are listening on the radio and on the Odyssey app, is on the occasions that sometimes James has to reset everything. Sometimes he just unfreezes. The only person who doesn't find this funny is James. James is fascinated by this. Now I just can't wait to see when James freezes.
That's right. Yeah. I guess I was saying before we go, I think that it's strange that they would go back to 18. Especially with the recent success of G League Ignite and how they've kind of created this own little buzz about their own minor league system. The 18-19 thing, it usually is something, it's a carrot that's thrown in there early in negotiations, and it magically disappears in the final version of the CBA. So I'm not fully convinced because this has come back time and time again. I guess we could see LeBron James kid or whatever, but it's they're saying 2024 is the first season that you would actually be able to see this happen. And I'm not convinced that it will. And, again, you put a lot of time and energy into this G League Ignite experience. You've brought in some of the top prospects in the country. It seems strange that you'd want to choke off that pipeline right now at this point.
Silver's been bringing it up pretty regularly. It feels like it'd be weird if this collective bargaining agreement gets done and that's not changed. Like, why do you keep bringing it up if you're not going to change it?
It's one of the many things that they like to dangle out there and then pull away at the last second. Then they're like, you know what? The owners are kind of like, we're not quite ready yet on this. And, I don't understand why the players union pushes for it too. I mean, basically, you're taking away more roster spots. And how many times do we have to see 18-year-olds that don't work out and then have nowhere to go and they can't go to college? They can't, their careers are over at 19, 20 years old, and it's kind of sad.
Jesse's telling me the show is over. So thank you guys so much for being with us. That's James Ham, our 1320 Kings insider, creator of the Kings Beat.